You may have heard the term conflict of interest, but exactly what is your responsibility as a trustee, and how can boards best manage potential conflicts of interest? In this very short video, we focus specifically on how to manage conflicts of interest on the board, whether real, possible, or perceived. As has been mentioned, whether you use the term board member or director or indeed trustee, the point is this: you're holding the school in trust to act in the best interest of the school. The duty of loyalty is to the school, not to you personally, and this is where the term conflict of interest arises, when there may be decisions made by the board where you may have a personal or business interest in the outcome. So, for example, if you take approving salary increases for staff when your spouse is a teacher in the school, or awarding a building contract when your brother has submitted one of the quotations. Perhaps approving an additional fee for children with special language needs when your child is receiving intensive language lessons. As you can see, each of these board decisions could or may be influenced by your personal circumstances. So what can and should boards do? Well, some have bylaws that prohibit certain potential conflicts of interest in the first place, such as a bylaw that might state that a trustee cannot be the spouse or close family relative of an employee in the school. Certainly that may eliminate any issues around salary payments. But in addition, there should be an annual declaration that's completed by each trustee and submitted through the chair. This simple form indicates the areas where a potential conflict of interest may arise, such as declaring your own business interests or those of close family relatives. Of course, this annual declaration may not catch everything, and it's quite possible that a situation may arise during the course of the year, such as the board having to adapt to COVID-19 and considering the equipment that's provided, that now your company has something to do with it. The obligation is on you to declare in writing, through a brief note to the chair, that there may now be a potential conflict of interest arising. There may need to be a further debate with the whole board about the situation and your role, and that may require you to step out of the meeting for a few minutes to allow that discussion to take place. The outcome may result in you having to take a step back in all the subsequent discussions on the topic. Or perhaps you're still involved in the board work, but don't participate in any form of influencing the voting. Indeed, it would be good practice for the chair to ask at the very start of each meeting if there are any potential conflicts of interest arising out of the agenda. There may be a tendency to try not to make such a big deal of potential or perceived conflicts of interest, especially as your fellow trustees become more familiar to you as friends. But again, instead consider how you would face the criticism of parents at the annual general meeting who stand up and publicly accuse you of abusing your position on the board for personal gain. Even if you haven't and you're perfectly innocent, proving a negative is hard at the best of times, more so during a heated annual general meeting. Having everybody on the board remember clearly that you declared the potential conflict of interest, and how it was dealt with generally puts a stop to any such awkward and acrimonious accusations. Do you have effective procedures in place to manage any conflicts of interest in your school? Do you sign an annual declaration? Does your chair ask for any conflicts of interest when introducing agenda items for board discussions?